With the new vaccines that target the more recent subvariants, do we know the extent to which it's the case again that the vaccine actually significantly reduces your risk of getting the virus? I know that it's well documented that it reduces your risk of severe illness, but to what extent does it actually protect you from catching it?
For you, Mr. Chair. So I think we would have to extrapolate from our experience from previous formulations of the vaccine because the bivalent boosters were studied in terms of their antibody response. So we do know that the bivalent booster provides a very robust antibody response, but we would have to have more experience with following people over time to see to what degree it reduces your chance of infection. But just based on extrapolation from the antibody response, we do believe that it's going to provide a booster protection to lower your chance of infection. The main reason we encourage people to get boosters right now is to boost to prevent severe infection. That is what we are most concerned about at this stage, keeping people well enough so that they don't have to end up in hospital.
And do we have any specific?
We're having a problem on Rumble. It's a joke. I'll be back.
To people, how much, the extent to which they're protected from serious illness, based on when they got their most recent booster or how many they've had. Do we have data on that? I know I used to ask this 6 months ago, and we didn't have the data then. Do we have any more of it now?
For you, Mr. Chair, again, I think probably the best way that we could explain this is not so much from the bivalent boosters, but what we observed with people getting their third and fourth boosters. We definitely saw a decrease in the risk for hospitalization, particularly for people aged.
Okay, let me just make sure we're good on Rumble.
Older. You can see there's a big difference between in that group, their rate of hospitalization if they had had a recent dose and those who had not got a third or fourth dose. That's probably the most.
Are we actually having a problem? It's becoming a joke, and I'm starting to get angry with it. It says we're good. It says we're live on Rumble. I'm going to refresh on Rumble. There's 160. Good. We're live on Rumble, except they missed the intro video. So we'll go through the intro video one more time. Let me just make sure my audio is on the right mic. Settings, audio. We're on the right mic. Let me just take my camera out of there. Good evening. Who's nervous? Oh, look, I'm not saying that I'm having a gin and tonic, but I'm having a gin and tonic with this Fiver Tree. This is not the ad, by the way. With this Fiver Tree thing, tonic water, that has 50 calories for 5 fluid ounces. That's a lot of calories. But who's nervous? I'm looking in the chat and people are nervous. Going to go back to Rumble and make sure that we all good on the Rumbles, which it looks like we are. Okay, good. Good. Let me just... Yeah, there you go. I see myself there. Very nice. Oh, people... This is officially my first election, American election, midterm or presidential in America ever. And the tension. I remember when we were kids, we read a book and they said the air was pregnant with tension. And I never forgot that analogy. The air, at least in this, I don't know, you might notice the echoes better because I put a carpet down on the ground that's drying out because the dog's pissed all over it. Not the dogs, one of them. Pissed all over the carpet. It's a ruggable carpet, so they're easy to wash, but not easy to fit into the washing machine, the dryer. So that's been lying out on the floor to dry up, but I think the audio is going to probably sound a little more muffled. I'm seeing some black pills in the chat already. It's all rigged, won't matter or make a difference. That will be true. If you have espoused the Michael Malice, both parties are bad mentality, which I think they are. And then it brings you into that little, the next Wittgensteinian level of black pill. Both parties are bad. So settle for the party that's less bad. And that's how they create a two-party system where, you just alternate which boot is kicking you in the butt or which boot is stepping on your neck. But it's midterms. I've never been in the States for midterms. I've watched it in Canada many a times. Do you have to be a citizen to vote in the USA? You do. I'm not sure if people with permanent resident status, green cards, can vote. It's a stupid question. I don't know why I don't know the answer to that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't apply to me anyhow. But I have not voted. I would like to make the jokes that I voted many times for Democrats, but that's not a nice joke. And it's also a problematic joke because people who want to pretend they don't get jokes will take it out of context. Both parties are bad. I agree. Then the question is only going to be which party's less bad, which party's more good, and which party has the capability of being turned good. There are good candidates running for the Republicans, like objectively good. But then it's only a question I bet a lot of people thought AOC was objectively good when she started running for the Democrats. And now even Democrats look at AOC and they say, you've lived long enough to become the enemy. You were our hero. You were our savior. Now you've become just another one of them. There's a lot of Republican candidates, populist candidates, who I think look the same. And then it might just be a matter of time before people look back at just picking one out of the hat, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And they say, you started off so good. And now look at this. It's 2034 and you're supporting a war against Ukraine this time because that's how the earth has shifted. Funny thing is, people were talking about, it's a total side thought, the war in Ukraine, and everyone says we have to support our allies. And I don't want to get into it too much, but I was like, oh, which allies? Like the ally that helped us defeat Nazism in World War II. Once upon a time, communist Russia was an ally. Allies, as we know from 1984, they come and they go, and they go from ally to foe. And that rhymed, and I didn't even do that on purpose. But we should really support our allies. Russia was our ally once upon a time. Then they became an enemy. Now Ukraine's the ally, and people could have difficulty understanding the ebb and the flow of international global conflict. We've always been at war with East Asia. So here's the plan for tonight. It's going to be a long haul. I'm not going past 10 o'clock. I'm an old man. The kids are not going to let me. Also, I don't, if we're live streaming until we get the results, I'm going to be 2 weeks old and dead by the time it's done. I got some video clips lined up. We're going to talk about some other stuff. And as the results start trickling, and by the way, word on the street, this joke is never going to get old. Fox News has called Arizona. With 0.01, I'm joking. It is good to be here in Florida, although we are now entering our second tropical storm risk. The hurricane missed us. This tropical storm, Nancy, what's it called? Starts with an N. Looks like it's going to cause not some problems, but we're gonna get it. But it's good to be here. Anyways, I've got some videos lined up. Barnes is going to join as the votes start trickling in. We'll see just how long this takes to get the results. I've got so many good clips lined up. You have no idea. I'm going to go back to the first one because a lot of people missed it on Rumble. First of all, there was a Rumble rant. Okay, boys, make your bets. From the scale of 1 to 10, how blatant will the fortification be this time? Oh, God, it's so bad. Okay. I've got video clips lined up. But first, this was a crystal glass that we took from Canada, and someone chipped it. Someone chipped the crystal glass. It was the only glass. You get to be an adult and you get to be a parent. You can't have nice things, and you can't have things that you like. Because children, I was gonna make a joke and make a swear word, but I don't want people thinking there's any truth in jest. Children cannot be trusted with anything. Children are the embodiment of the biggest jerks you meet as adults. That's what a kid is. They don't think twice. They don't think before they do things. They are the center of the universe. They have difficulty even conceiving of other people's desires. They don't understand value. They don't understand price. They don't understand work and money. A kid can work for money. They can have an allowance. They don't understand what things cost, how hard it is in life to make money, to keep money. Anyways, I don't know. It could very well have been the dishwasher that did this. So that's the other thing. One thing I've learned about adults, they blame everything on kids, even their own mistakes. I lose the car keys. It was the kid's fault. Even if I find them in the bathroom by the toilet, right where I was playing Wordle in the morning, it's the kid's fault. So kids are responsible for everything. Irresponsible adults who are forgetful, senile, stubborn, reflexively blame everything on the kids, even when it's not their fault, and then refuse to admit it was their fault when they find out the kids were not responsible for that. It's gonna be one heck of an evening. I did not bet on any of this. Damn kids, you damn whippersnappers. I didn't bet on any of this. I did not bet on Trump in 2016 when I knew that I wanted to put a few $100s down. I did bet in 2020 and lost. I bet again. Who did I bet for? Conor McGregor, I think. Whenever I bet, I lose. So I'm just not betting anymore. And I don't like losing money. It makes me feel dumb. And those anyway, so that's it. So I did not bet because I always bet badly. But tonight's going to be interesting. Okay, what was I going to say? Oh, hold on. Before we get going much further, let's take care of some. Speaking of not appreciating things. Hold on, let me just see what I'm doing here. Speaking of not appreciating things that we have, where kids think air quality just comes like that. And then you get a filter. You get a beautiful filter in the house. They don't understand technology. They don't understand how fancy these things are. They put their slime on top of the filter. It didn't get sucked into the filter, but my goodness, they put their slime on the filter. It drips down the side. But I'll tell you one thing. This is the home purification system, I think they call it. It is a system that I use at home. EnviroCleanse. It's the sponsor of tonight's video. It's a product that is fantastic. It's glorious. The kids don't appreciate that it's not a bookshelf or a slime shelf. I can tell you this from my experience. The smell of slime also makes me nauseous, especially when it has too much shaving cream in it. It just smells like you're in the perfume section of a store. Wherein comes the use of EnviroCleanse filter. It removes the VOC's volatile organic compounds from the air. It removes odor. It filters the air. It neutralizes bacteria and germs. It will minimize your risk of getting the flu. It is used by the Department of Defense. It's in 300,000 classrooms across the states. It is $700 and it is expensive, but air filters, everybody knows, are expensive. Once you're going to spend the money on it, get a good one. It has patented technology in the filter that neutralizes bacteria to a smaller size than the Rona, which reduces your chances of transmitting the flu virus around the holiday season. It's amazing. ekpure.com. It'll bring you to EnviroCleanse. If you use promo code Viva, you'll get 10% off the unit and a free air quality monitor, which is worth something like $100. And it'll tell you what your air quality is and that the machine is working. There is 0% financing. Anybody who knows that they need an air filter, you don't need to be sold on this, but this is the one I use. It's fantastic. And thank goodness that there's a company that's not too scared to sponsor the fringed minority with unacceptable views who will laugh at those who laughed at those who said elections cannot be problematic and you're a conspiracy theorist for even suggesting that they are. And by the way, it could take us weeks to count the ballots. Right-wing extremists are literally trying to steal the election. Yeah. How often do you have to change the filters? One of them 6 months. I think the neutralizer and the HEPA, I think, is every year. You can get the filters online. And that's it. Okay. ekpure.com. Echo, kilo, pure.com, promo code Viva. Let me bring back, the links will be in the stream also. I'll have to put them up there at some point. Let me go back to the opening video. We're going to talk a bit about COVID stuff tonight because the results are not yet coming in and there's only so much filling the air with jibber jabber that anybody can do in good conscience. Election jibber jabber. We'll fill the air with other stuff. Today in Toronto, they had, what do they call it? The Board of Health Toronto City Council meeting, where they talk about the issues. These are the two people. Oh, I don't know if you're going to see the other one, but this woman that you see right here, she's a doctor. She's on the Toronto Board of Health or whatever. They make the decisions. They determine protocol. They are the decision makers. And there was a city council meeting at which my brother was, what do they call them? A deputant? A deputant? My brother, I'll play that video also. Just I won't play all 5 minutes of it. He had his questions and he showed up to ask his questions. I proceeded to listen to this live stream of the city council meeting. We're being governed by idiots. And I think it was Plato or Socrates who said, the price that we pay for not getting politically involved is we end up getting governed by our inferiors. Now, the thing is, though, there are experts involved in this governing process. They also appear to be idiots. Hold on 1 second. Oh. They also appear to be incompetent buffoons. They also seem to be tacitly admitting they don't know what they're doing and they are experimenting on humans in real time. But don't take my word for it. Listen to a question that I think the person asking the question is the chair of the board, or I don't know. It doesn't really matter who the person is, but listen to the question and then listen to the answer.
With the new vaccines that target the more recent subvariants, do we know the extent to which it's the case again that the vaccine actually significantly reduces your risk of getting the virus? I know
transmission. And by the way, you'll notice some stealth edits. The only thing I edited out of this was the dead air so that I could get it to fit into 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Dead air, and there was like 1 or 2 words which changed nothing. I wanted this to fit into 2 minutes and 20 seconds so I could put it on Twitter. This individual is asking the questions, do we have any data this time around as to whether or not the bivalent jibby jab, it will significantly reduce transmission? That's the question.
know that it's well documented that it reduces your risk of severe illness, but to what extent does it actually protect you from catching it?
For you, Mr. Chair. So I think we would have to extrapolate from our experience.
I see that Barnes needs a link. I'm going to get it to him. Hold on.
Because the bivalent boosters were
extrapolate from our experience.
studied in terms of their antibody response. So we do know that the bivalent booster provides a very robust antibody response.
We're extrapolating from our experience.
We would have to have more experience with following people over time to see to what degree it reduces your chance of infection. But just based on extrapolation from the antibody response, we do believe that it's going to provide a boost of protection to lower your chance of infection. The main reason we encourage people to get boosters right now is to boost to prevent severe infection.
Okay. By the way, if we extrapolate from experience, you will recall recently, they're extrapolating from experience, and they've recently just admitted that they never tested on they were never doing studies on transmission. So they're extrapolating. Get over here. They're extrapolating from experience that they don't have, that they never looked into, to come to conclusions based on data that they don't have. Enraging. I see Barnes is here. Let's bring Barnes into the house. Robert, sir.
All right.
How goes the battle?
Good. I was on with Richard Barris, who's doing, for those folks out there, he's doing a members-only YouTube live stream, People's Pundit Daily. Some people have asked, it's basically like $5 to watch it. The people asked why. He needs thousands and thousands of people just to be able to recoup how much money he spent so that he can get live time election results tonight. So basically he's going to lose money again doing this, and it's purely a public service. That the only reason to get it that quickly is so the audience can get it that quickly. So for those folks that want like real live time election results with context and analysis that understands where that vote is coming from, what it means, what its historical context is, what its relevance is to that particular election, and so forth, you can tune in all night. I'll be on there a little bit later tonight. He'll be on through midnight Eastern. That's at People's Pundit Daily, YouTube. You have to be a member. You subscribe through it. And it's a one-time subscription fee, basically. and it's more than worth it if you want live time election results and reporting information.
People's Pundit Daily, Robert, is that it?
That's it. That is
On
it.
YouTube. That's not
Just
the link.
YouTube this time because
Okay.
Rumble doesn't quite yet have that functionality to it yet. Otherwise, he would have done it on Rumble. But so it's a members only live stream. He has paid tens of thousands of dollars for live, immediate, early election result information from the direct sources. These are people that go into the precincts and in the counties, and they gather information for paid services. The media often only pays for delayed production of this. That's why you get delays in media reporting. He's getting the information as early as anyone in the business. You have to pay a big fee for that, and that's what he's doing. And you get the added benefit with Barris that he's able to contextualize it. Oh, that's the early vote. Oh, that's a late vote. Oh, that's a mail-in vote. Oh, that's from this part of the county, not this part of the county, this part of the state, not that part of the state. So he can give it meaning so you know how to process and absorb it. So if you want to follow it in live time, that's where you can. And we got three live chats up and rolling. One live chat at Rumble, another live chat at vivabarneslaw.locals.com, and another live chat where I'm putting out picks, sportspicks.locals.com. That's for those that like to bet on the election. Last time in 2020, when did this, told people to sell around midnight. A lot of people locked in a lot of profit before waking up to those people that weren't part of the live chat, didn't know to sell. So giving people live odds as to what that works. And I'm wearing a Duran sweatshirt and a totally nonpartisan hat.
Robert, yeah, the people wanted a tie, but that is a dapper looking sweater. It looks a bit
so you got the Duran Eagle, you got the U.S. flag right in the middle, and they got these nice colors. So I think it's the Duran store. They get a lot of cool stuff. You can get your own flag in the middle, so you can get any flag in the country, and you get a wide range of colors, and you can get hoodies, sweatshirts, long T-shirts, short T-shirts, hats, mugs, you name it.
Yeah, we're gonna okay. We'll talk.
We'll
about
have
that.
that. Well, pretty soon we'll have our own little Viva Barnes University ones, and we'll have some of the and some Hush Hush and Good and
we've got our merch. We've got our merch on VivaFry.com for anybody who wants it.
Oh yeah. Oh, and by the way, there's a way to apparently link now the banner of the merch store at vivabarneslaw.locals.com.
That would be good. I know that
it's actually there. I found it today when I was going through Sports Picks. So it's a new locals edition. So that might be a way to help for those people that want high quality merch, including to be a good graduate of Viva Barnes University, the best law school in America.
Right here. And Robert, someone said, I went to see what is going on just over at the Young Turks. Somebody needs to tell Sink to cut back on the booger sugar. I thought that meant he had a booger in his nose, but now I get it. I put that on the backdrop. We'll go back there and see what's going on. Something is obviously broken with Robert. He isn't wearing a suit. Blink twice.
That's election night. So it's emerging Republican majority night. So,
Robert,
I mean, early voting in your state, Florida, I guess, well, you're an honest person, so you couldn't vote. If you're a Democrat, you could vote there in Broward County. But or if you were planning on voting Democrat, you could vote in I was telling folks I got my I voted sticker. I wasn't a Democrat, so I didn't get multiple I voted stickers. That's a privilege reserved for Democrats. But it was, brisk line, apparently you now have to sign your name to get your live ballot, which is interesting. So they're making signature matches universal in Nevada. That's promising because that suggests some future check on election fornication that we can talk about freely. We're just on Rumble, right?
No, we're on both. What do we do?
Okay.
Should we end it on YouTube and bring it over to exclusively to Rumble?
Yeah, so we can talk freely about the
I'm gonna post it anyhow. By the way, just
doing in Arizona.
Let me see one thing, Robert. I've been posting them, and now some of them have been getting demonetized. Our discussion about Nancy Pelosi and Paul Pelosi, it's demonetized for now. We'll see if it gets the green light. But let me see here. I posted the full Robert Malone interview, and a day later, let me see if it's still. It was demonetized, and then I'm on the wrong channel. I can't tell. I'll see if it was remonetized. But no. We'll go in a few minutes. Let everyone. I'll put the links up so everybody gets there. Yeah, because it's going to be a party, and we have to reward the folks at Rumble for this. Link here. I'm going to go put it in the pinned comment. Robert, you're following the news of the day, correct? Like all of the stories of malfunctioning machines, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So there's lawsuits already been filed in Maricopa County by Harmy Dillon concerning what happened there. There was, a little copyright right at the bottom. I hadn't seen this before. A copyright at the bottom of the voting machines here in Las Vegas that had Dominion by it. It's like, are they actually like trolling us with this? I thought that was kind of interesting. But yes, aware of that and other issues and anomalies and questions in Pennsylvania. A lot of last second lawsuits. That a bunch of judges stepped in for Democrats and like 8 lawsuits yesterday to extend deadlines in Cobb County, extend deadlines in Pennsylvania, extend deadlines in other cities and counties and parts of the country. I don't think it will be enough to ultimately make a difference. There's always a risk of that. But, at least from early voting results, from leaked exit polling results, it looks like a disaster for Democrats tonight.
Well, I mean, my concern is that it's going to look like that. And then as Psaki, Jean-Pierre, Biden saying, give it a couple more weeks, they'll find something interesting. But Robert,
I think this guy just proves if your name is Bill Gates, you're probably a criminal.
I was going to make 2 jokes about that, but I was going to make a joke that Bill Gates can't make a vaccine and Bill Gates can't run a computer, but Bill Gates didn't make the vaccine, so the joke wouldn't exactly work.
Hello, Maricopa.
Just tell us let's listen to this, Robert, and then you'll flesh out what he's admitting to here, because it sounds bad.
County, I'm Bill Gates, the chairman of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
And I'm Stephen Richard, the Maricopa County Recorder.
And we're here to give you an update.
Hold on a second. Isn't that guy on the right from The Office? Wasn't he the auditor from The Office?
He looks sort of like Bill Burr.
He even talks like the auditor from The Office.
Already had almost 44,000 people show up this morning, check in, and be available to vote.
What's the deal with Maricopa County in terms of its importance, Robert? Why is it so important?
So state of Arizona, big governor's race, big Senate race, big congressional races, big state legislature races, all in the state. One of the most watched states this election cycle, one of the most watched states for multiple election cycles because it's very, very competitive, very close. In Maricopa County, which is Phoenix, dominates the state. It's the voting wise and otherwise. So that's why what happens in Maricopa tends to shape and dictate the outcome of Arizona elections. Okay. And these particular county of supervisors, very controversial for how they've handled elections in the past, especially in 2020.
Okay, so Bill Gates is not new to this. This guy has been around for a few years now.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
And things are going great out there, but there's one
things are going great, but I mean, it's so terrible. Okay.
Thing that we wanted to address.
Things are going great, but there's one thing we want to address. There's one big fuck up. I mean, that's what there's one big hiccup. Sorry, did I say fuck up?
To make people aware of today, and that has to do with our tabulators. We've got about 20% of the locations out there where there's an issue with the tabulator, where some of the ballots that after people have voted them, they try and run them through the tabulator and they're not going through.
20% of the location, that's only 1 in 5 locations where your votes are not being read. So how does it work? I have no idea what this looks like compared to what I see in Canada. They fill out the ballot as to who they vote for, slide it in. It's supposed to be read automatically, and then what? Put in a box?
Yeah, and I don't know in Arizona. I think like in Nevada it works differently. Every state it kind of works differently. My understanding is you put it through, it counts, and you get to see some confirmation that it counted. And people were trying to put it through, and they weren't getting confirmation that it counted. And the bigger concern is we now have had a massive shift in America. Part of it happened in 2020, but it's accelerated because of 2020, where people vote by different methods based on which party they're in. So if you're a Democrat, you increasingly vote by mail. In Arizona, that didn't used to be the case. You Republicans used to vote more by mail than Democrats did. And Arizona's been a vote by mail state for decades. But 2020 changed all that because of perceptions of the reliability and integrity of the vote by mail system in these states. And so vote by mail is now Democrat. Vote in person is now Republican, especially vote in person on election day is now Republican. So the concern was that that gives a motivation for partisan election officials to make voting by mail as easy as possible if they're on the Democratic side of the aisle. And it gives them a motivation to make voting in person as difficult as possible if that's their bias. And in the past, this wouldn't be the case because you wouldn't have a partisan effect by the method of voting like you do now. And that's why people are on hyper alert. And here you have Maricopa County knew that, was the center, more criticism of this county than any other county in America for what happened in 2020. Massive criticism, massive audits done by the Arizona State Senate and others. A lot of continuous criticism of Maricopa County's handling of this. And here it is on Election Day 2022. They know there's going to be a massive surge of Republican voters, and magically the machines don't work in a bunch of Republicans.
Not all of them, Robert. Only 20%.
That makes it even worse. It's disproportionately Republican precincts, my understanding, where these didn't work. It'd be one thing if it was Democratic precincts it was all not working in, but that is not the case, apparently.
And it said 20% of locations without referring to the percentage of machines. It's conceivable. It could go either way, but it's conceivable it's far more than 20% of the machines if some locations have more machines than others. But let's hear this out here.
But the good thing is we do, first of all, we're trying to fix this problem as quickly as possible.
It's election day, by the way. We're trying to fix this problem as quickly as possible.
You're right. That guy could also, other than being the auditor from the office, the guy on the right could also be Bill Burr on meth.
Yep.
And we also have a redundancy in place. If you can't put the ballot in the tabulator,
This is what I don't understand.
Simply place it here in where you see the
Oh,
number
I
3.
understand it now.
This is a secure box where those ballots will be kept for later this evening, where we'll bring them in here to central count.
Okay, understood. Now I understand. So it goes through the digital. They fill it out. It goes through the digital reader. It gets automatically calculated, so they know as of the shutting of the closing or the ending of the votes. If it doesn't go through there, then you put it into the metal box. Someone's going to take it out manually. He's going to specify Republican and Democrat and count it manually later. So you won't have an immediate count from the automated system, but someone's going to do it by hand later. Okay.
To tabulate them.
So this would function much like early voting functions, in that we would get your ballot back. Once we've signature verified it, we would send it to our
Bill Burr on meth, Robert.
central tabulators. Ballots that are in here will already be, in effect, signature verified, so we won't need to confirm identity.
What does that mean? Do you understand what that means? The ballots in the box will be effectively signature verified?
I don't know what he means by that.
We will central tabulate them. This is actually what the majority of Arizona counties do on election day all the time.
By the way, this guy looks like he's being held hostage on the right. Bill Burr.
Yeah.
There's like right off of his shoulder, someone's like, keep saying it, keep saying it. Good. You're free now. Back to Bill Gates.
And just one thing to keep in mind, we have 223 vote centers across the county. So if there are lines at the location you're at or issues with the tabulator, if you would prefer to go to another location, you can do that.
Oh, thanks.
Doesn't matter where you go, as long as you're a registered voter here in Maricopa County. Thanks so much. And everybody, if you haven't yet, get out and vote.
Okay. So I think I understand. Oh, why did this happen? No,
I have no idea.
Can't do that. I adjusted it before, but I guess, Robert, you'll have to have an avatar over you when we're in the big box. So Maricopa County, 20% of the voting precincts are having issues reading the votes or reading the ballot automatically. Put it in manually, and they'll count it later.
The other concern was some people might be tempted to leave. Once you checked in, you had to spoil your vote, or you wouldn't be allowed to vote at another precinct. So the message that Republicans put out, Blake Masters and Kerry Lake and others, was stay in line, get your vote in there, make sure that's done. Don't make the mistake of leaving and hoping to come back later or going to another precinct, because fair chance you won't be able to get the vote in. The Republican edge in Maricopa County and in Arizona was anticipated on election day to be something like 2-1. Through the last update I saw, it was at 4-1. Now, some people have been asking on the live chat at Sports Picks about the betting markets predicted dropping for Walker and Oz and some of these other people. I'd put it, the exit polls are notoriously wrong. Now, the nationwide exit polls were were unusually favorable to Republicans that got leaked earlier in the day, but these individual state exit polls are atrocious. I have been betting against exit polls now for almost 20 years. For one of the first times I made a lot of money. I made little bits of money over the years, but the first time I made a lot of money on an election was on election night in 2004, when George W. Bush dropped to a 3-1 underdog to win the presidency on election night. And that's because there were bad exit polls out of Ohio, bad exit polls out of Florida, bad exit polls out of multiple states that convinced people that that John Kerry was going to win. And the reason why exit polls have been abominable and atrocious is because of who they sample. They send out a bunch of college kids. They end up sampling people like themselves. And when there's such a massive cultural gap between actually, it's always been a problem. I spotted it in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was just a teenager in Tennessee, because it was showing patterns. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Dug into the precinct data, and none of it matched up at all. Found out later that they manipulate the final exit poll results to look like the final results, but their internal numbers are completely skewed and don't reflect the precinct results because they're almost never right. So people out don't respond to the exit polls. Exit polls notoriously inflate Democratic support. If there's any exit polls coming out showing Democrats losing, that you can pay attention to because they're already inflating Democratic support. But don't look to the ones that say Warnock's going to win in Georgia, Uncle Festerman's going to win in Pennsylvania. Not buying any of that at all.
I'm putting the link in there again. I think do we want to head over to Rumble now?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, there's 4,574 people on YouTube. There are, and I'm just looking at this, 11,157 on Rumble. Go over to Rumble. Do it, even if, and I say don't do it like I'm not telling you what to do. Some of you don't like the user interface and whatever, or you're on mobile and you can't Rumble rant. Don't worry about that. In fact, forget Rumble rants. The best deal, Robert, what's the best deal to support us or to join the community?
Yeah, you can go to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. We have a live chat up there as we speak. If you're looking at political bets, also sportspicks.locals.com. Both live chats up and going. I'm watching them right here on both screens.
And now I'm taking it off of Rumble. So see you all. I'm taking it off of YouTube. See you all on Rumble. Ending on YouTube in 3,